Whew, it's been a really long day, but we're up into our final press conference of the day. Sony, and I think they were right up there with Ubisoft, at least in some points. In their high points, they were great. In their low points, they were awkward and strange, which is also kind of great, but in a different way, and certainly not in the way that they wanted. But right out the bat, they came out, just doing unbelievable. They showed Quantic Dreams, the maker of Heavy Rain. They have a new IP, and if you know me, I love new IPs at E3. They showed Beyond Two Souls. Probably the most grabbing thing about this title is that the main character is voice acted, and her facial recognition is actually there as well. The character is Judy Holmes, and it's played by Ellen Page. You might know her from Juno. She's been in a bunch of things, but that's probably the most recognizable thing that she's been in. And having a professional actor in there is pretty showing, at least from what I saw from the trailer and the gameplay footage that they showed. Just seeing the actual emotions on her face and just the other characters' faces, it was really there, and it was kind of staring you in the face. Yeah, staring you in the face, but it was beautiful. It looked good, and I was just gripped. Like, it was the one cinematic that I saw that I actually wanted to sit through and watch the entire thing. And, I think that definitely says something. Next, they showed, a title that I've been pretty skeptical about, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and a lot of people think this is kind of a ripoff of Super Smash, and probably rightfully so. I mean, even just the look of the characters and kind of just the player indications overhead were really reminiscent of that title. One of the things that I really liked, though, right away that kind of grabbed me was the characters are going to play differently. Like, for instance, they had Kratos, Sweet Tooth, Fat Princess, and Sly Cooper, and, two of them were melee with Fat Princess and Kratos, and they got in your face and they hit attacks. Sweet Tooth was more of kind of like a caster type character where he'd set down traps and use his shotgun to deal damage, and Sly Cooper was like a thief like kind of character where he was, going around and stealing. So they actually played differently, which is something that I feel that, Smash doesn't really do. Every character kind of just has their, certain types of moves, and obviously they're a little bit different, but this seemed to be kind of going more into the ideal of specialization. But, honestly, all of that went out the window when they showed the actual gameplay, and it all revolves around building up special meters, which, I don't know, it could be okay in concept, but from what they showed us, I mean, it's pretty much you get your special, then you use it, and it's an automatic kill and a knockout, and it's like, I don't understand where the competitive or fun nature is with that. I mean, Smash for me is all about playing with friends, and if it's just frustrating and annoying to play, it's not going to be something that has me excited. It's too early to say that for this title yet, but from what they showed, I wasn't overly excited, and I don't think many people were blown away by that whole special bar meter, whole deal. Though on top of that, they did announce 2 new characters. The first was Nathan Drake. Not that surprising, but the second was a Big Daddy from BioShock, and considering that they didn't even originally have BioShock out on PlayStation, that was kind of a big surprise, and, it's just a great character to have in the game, so I think a lot of people are excited about that, and it's definitely helping to fill out the roster of PS All-Stars. Oh, and another note on PS All-Stars, they did actually play cross-platform, so 2 of the players were on the Vita and 2 of the players were on the PlayStation 3, and it looks seamless. I mean, this was... if you listen to our pre-E3 podcast, you could hear that I was pretty skeptical about how this would work. But seeing it in practice, it looked really smooth. And staying on that note, they were also talking about DLC for cross-platform play for Little Big Planet. But not only would it allow you to play between the Vita and the PS3, it actually lets you use your Vita as a controller, kind of a tablet-like controller for... for Little Big Planet, so you could do some extra things with it in level creations and kind of use it as a touchscreen, which I think is pretty cool. It seems like everybody's kind of trying now to get the Wii U tablet in some way or another. I mean, you have Microsoft with their Smart Glass, and now you have the PS Vita with its cross-platform. So it looks like everybody's trying to get a tablet of their own, and it seems like they're able to do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we'll really be able to see the repercussions of these decisions until a little bit out into the future, but from where I'm standing, having kind of a touchscreen, a Little Big Planet, especially for the level editor, is nothing but good news for the fans. Jesse Miller, our feature editor over here at Pixelbit, was talking about how he thinks there was gonna be some big announcements for the PSN, and he definitely called that. I mean, they were talking about 200 digital titles over the next year, which is awesome. I mean, I think, one of the things that the PSN has lacked in terms of competing with the Xbox Live Arcade has just been, girth when it comes to what's available online. But I mean, 200 new digital titles is definitely a hefty load of games, and it's something that anybody who's on the PSN should be excited about. Another thing that really grabbed me was that PlayStation Plus members are going to be getting 12 free games, and it's not like they're just throwaway games. I mean, the 3 that they mentioned were Infamous 2, Little Big Planet 2, and Saints Row 2. So, I mean, it wasn't like they were just toss-away games. These are real substantial games. Definitely worth some money, and it's one of the things that I think just kind of separates them from Microsoft is how much they're willing to give people for paying for a premium product. And it's probably the one premium instance today that we can talk about that doesn't make you hate gaming. They also talked a little bit about the Vita PSN. PS1 classics are coming to the Vita. I think that's the perfect place for them to go. I mean, one of the things they were talking about was the original Tomb Raider, which now has a lot more relevance thanks to the new Tomb Raider that's coming out. And they showed Final Fantasy VII, which I think pretty much makes every Sony fan happy, or at least it makes me happy whenever I see that game. Additionally to the Vita, they're getting their own Black Ops game, Black Ops Declassified, and it's actually going to have online functionality. So, another shooter for all those shooter fans out there, and anyone who prefers to play their shooters on the go, that's definitely a good one. Everything was going so good in this conference, they kind of came to their one big hiccup in my opinion, and that was, they started talking about the PS Move, which hasn't really done well. I don't think it's ever going to do well. It's too late in the cycle of this for anybody to be wanting to pick up this peripheral that hasn't. But nevertheless, they go on to the Move into what they call Wonder Book, which I actually think is a really great idea. It's a book series where they could be interactive books for kids or just anybody, but I would imagine mostly children. And while this idea looks great, it's kind of the same problem that I had with the Battlefield 3 Premium. It's not necessarily the concept of it, but just in practice with where these console generations are. I mean, this is in the very late portion of its cycle. I mean, I think we all know that come next year, E3, they're going to be talking about their next system, as well as Microsoft's going to be discussing theirs. So, to have all these new peripherals and buy all this book sets for the PS3 is just kind of unpractical. But nevertheless, they did go on to talk about it. And the thing that they really focused on was Book of Spells from J.K. Rowling. It's going to be based off the Harry Potter universe, which, I mean, is a great universe to go off of, especially when you're talking about books, and I think kids will love it. But, again, the problem is the practicality and the pragmatism of it. Who's going to buy this? And the thing that's kind of sad is this was the longest demo I think we saw of the day was for Book of Spells. And they had a group of adults on what looked to be semi-mattresses. They were uncomfortably kind of huddled over, kneeling in awkward positions, waving the Move around. And you could just see the look on their face, how they kind of felt like idiots. And they kind of looked like idiots, to be honest. They should have had kids out there. But yeah, it was 30 minutes of it. It wasn't smooth. Those things really never are, though, because they don't play smooth. So, it was finicky, it was awkward, it was weird. The concept's great. In practice, I just don't think it's the best time for this idea. They quickly mentioned PS Suite, which is their mobile gaming. Now they're going to be moving it to PlayStation Mobile Gaming is their new name. Very inventive. They said they were going to be putting a big focus on mobile games, but then they didn't talk about mobile gaming at all. So it was kind of strange. We might hear more over the week. I kind of hope we do. I mean, I do think that is one of the biggest areas for gaming to expand is into the mobile realm. Everybody loves to play games on their phone, and PlayStation fans are no different. Then we got a chance to see God of War Ascension. This game looks beautiful. It still felt very much God of War. There wasn't really anything new that kind of grabbed out that I think I have to tell you guys, but it looked great. The best looking God of War game I've seen, which would make sense. It's slated for March 2013 for all of you who are interested, and I'm sure we'll get much more details on that as the week progresses. So finally, there was The Last of Us, and this is a game I've been very excited about. I got to review I Am Alive, and I kind of feel, or I'm hoping, that Last of Us can be the champion title that can kind of take the concepts that I loved about I Am Alive and kind of polish them up. And it seems in a sense it's kind of like that. I would say it's a mix between I Am Alive and Uncharted. That's the feeling I'm getting. You know, where I said Tomb Raider was kind of all Uncharted with the cinematic feel. I feel like this is a mix between the two, where it's not so over-the-top action. It's a little bit more realistic. For instance, in a lot of the scenes, he had a very limited amount of bullets. You know, when the cutscenes or the slash cutscenes slash action real-time scenes where he was taking out enemies, you know, there's very visible struggle. He's not doing it smoothly, and you shouldn't be in an instance like this. He's not a killer. I mean, he's just a regular guy trying to survive. And then obviously there's his counterpart, the young woman who I'm now calling Ellen Page 2.0. I don't know if you guys saw that whole debacle a while back when this game was originally announced. Everyone was like, oh, it looks like Ellen Page, and obviously Ellen Page is already in the press conference, so now we have version 2.0 here. But yeah, I mean, the game looks so beautiful. You know, talking about FarCry colors, vibrant. You know, this is right there on par with that. You know, just a beautiful, vibrant world. As dreary as it is, as like a post-apocalyptic setting, it's beautiful at the same time. And you know, it really has a nice mix. I think it has a good balance between where I'm feeling survival horror, and you know, the instances that reminded me of I Am Alive, kind of where there was one instance where he grabs one of his enemies, he uses him kind of as a shield. He has very limited bullets, so he kind of has to, you know, keep the other guy from firing at him by using this guy as a shield, and also using him as a deterrent for the other guy to fire, so he can use his limited shots to take the other guy out. And that's kind of the same thinking and strategy you had to use when you were playing I Am Alive. So I hope we get to see more of that in The Last of Us. And yeah, I mean, this game looks great. The more I see, the more I'm excited, and I think most people will be in agreement with me on that. Overall, you know, PlayStation really had some great titles. I mean, Beyond Two Souls looks great. The Last of Us looks amazing. God of War Ascension will be, you know, sure to please anyone who likes that series. So a lot of good, just one strange debacle when it came to the book, to the Wonder Books. And it's a great idea. Like I said, it's just definitely the wrong place and time for it. And don't attach a good idea to move, because it's just going to sink it into the ground. That was our first day of coverage for E3. It certainly was a doozy. I'm going to split these up into 4 videos if you hadn't already noticed, one for each of the conferences. Now, guys, please note that below in the description, I'm going to have a link to the article where I'm going to have all the links for everything you could care about E3, anything that might interest you. So please make sure to go check it out. We're going to be having tons more coverage. This is the only beginning. I mean, this is only the beginning. It's the tip of the iceberg, and I will see you guys tomorrow, yesterday, or however I say that, depending on the future, past way that I'm doing these videos. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first day of E3. I will see you on day 2.